Hello dear tea friends from around the world. Welcome to a new tea class with me, Stéphane Erler, the founder of the Tea Masters blog and the tea-masters.com tea boutique. Today we continue on our fall semester class and courses. This time we go to a very special tea in our Oolong series. It is going a bit to throw us back to I think the second tea that we had, an Alishan Qingxin Oolong. This is what it is actually. It's an Alishan Qingxin Oolong, but it has been labeled Tie Guan Yin from Alishan, and this is so a very confusing tea because you wonder, is it Tie Guan Yin or is it Alishan? Is it a high mountain Oolong? Actually, it's even roasted. Is it a roasted Qingxin Oolong? Why did the maker call it Tie Guan Yin? So I will make a dedicated class on Tie Guan Yin next week using an Anshi shipping Tie Guan Yin with the original cultivar and coming from the original region where Tie Guan Yin is originated. But today I'm going to first make this Tie Guan Yin based on Qingxin Oolong, which we know well, and also based on roasted Oolong. We had several classes on Qingxin Oolong, so we are familiar with what is the impact of roast. And we also have a good knowledge of Alishan, but this tea will be different from the previous teas that we had. It does not resemble high mountain Oolong, fresh, and it's also not similar to Qingxin Oolong from Shaninshi. It's not because of the terroir Alishan, but it's really because of the process. And there is a reason why this Tie Guan Yin was made in fall of last year. The fall season is roughly August. For us, it's in the West, it's summer. This is the time when it's hottest, even in the high mountains. And this warm weather enables the farmer to have oxidize its leaves more easily when it's very hot. The temperature acts as a catalyst for the oxidation. Well, I'm not a chemist, so I will not delve into the details of how it goes, but definitely the warmer it is, the easier it is to transform and oxidize your leaves faster. So the farmer is using the seasons in a very smart way. He's making high mountain Oolong, fresh high mountain Oolong in spring and in winter when the temperatures are coolest, and in fall here he's making Tie Guan Yin because this is a process with a higher oxidation level, and it mimics the taste of Tie Guan Yin. So let's quickly make this tea. Maybe you'll notice I have a new Gaiwan, beautiful with the Shan Shui picture. I'm going to add it to my selection very soon. Here's a preview for you, exclusive. You are the first ones to see it. It's a bow tie, so very thin walls, and therefore it's very quick to get warm. The leaves look very much like high mountain Oolong leaves, rolled. And what else can we say? From the smell, they have some light or strong roasting depending on what you are expecting. If you are expecting something like a fresh oolong, this is going to be very strong, but actually it's not so so strong because the leaves still have a greenish color to them, so it's not really too strong. Let's start to preheat our cups now. Get our water boiling the max to the max. Nice leaves. Oh, the stems are very few, so there's been also some refining on this side, and it has a very fresh but more complex smell than simply a high mountain oolong. So this is what can be confusing, but also what makes the tea so interesting is that by switching the process, farmers are able to mimic certain cultivars through the process. So next week we will really see what Tie Guan Yin, the real Tie Guan Yin tastes, but here we will experience first an imitation of a Tie Guan Yin using leaves from the high mountains, but in a season that is where it is more difficult to make really good fresh high mountain oolong, and therefore it is probably a good time to make a tea that is a bit higher in oxidation and also with some roast. And it just also maybe happens to be that this tea had some sense like Tie Guan Yin. Okay, I'm going pretty strong because I want the leaves really to open and we want to get the flavors out in the first brew. So so this could be, we could call it a fake tea if you did not get all the details about this tea, and if the vendors were to pretend, oh, this is Tie Guan Yin, and were selling it simply as Tie Guan Yin, this would be wrong. With my class, this of course is not the case, and I'm giving all the details of how it was made, and actually these leaves are definitely from high mountain, and what is important, they are Qingxin Oolong. They are not the original cultivar of Tie Guan Yin. But even in Anxi, in Fujian, in this birthplace of Tie Guan Yin, this cultivar is very rare, very more difficult to work on, and even there they also use other cultivars than necessarily Tie Guan Yin in order to make Tie Guan Yin. So even in the Tie Guan Yin region, not all Tie Guan Yin comes from the Tie Guan Yin cultivar. Even there they use Huangjingui, Benshan, where there are several cultivars that can be used to make Tie Guan Yin. And I've heard even in Taiwan, the place for Tie Guan Yin would be Mujia in close to Taipei. But even there, sometimes it happens that they don't have enough to satisfy the demands, and then they will go to Pinglin to purchase some leaves from the Pinglin farmers, and these leaves are not necessarily Tie Guan Yin, but then are processed as Tie Guan Yin. So the process can help and to make teas that can be very similar to a particular tea. This is something we have also seen with Oriental Beauty, that you can make Oriental Beauty traditionally with Qingxin Dapang in the Hsinchu region, but in Pinglin you can make Oriental Beauty with all kinds of cultivars, and then it will taste each time a little bit different, but you can still say this is Oriental Beauty. So here we go. We already see that the color is not greenish or light yellow like for a normal High Mountain Oolong, but it is a bit a darker yellow. Here you go. And now the leaves have already opened up. And here we have one of the open leaves. We can see a little bit of oxidation on the sides and even here in the middle. Not too much. Maybe another leaf. Here again, a little bit more oxidation level than high oxidation than on a normal High Mountain Oolong. The leaves definitely look a bit darker. Also, you see that the roast was not very strong since these leaves have already opened up very well, much better, much faster than on Hongshui Oolong. And definitely these are Qingxin Oolong, because for original Tie Guan Yin it's called, there's an expression to remember, Hongxin Wai Wei Tao. Wai Wei means the tail is crooked, but here the tail is straight, so it is not the original Tie Guan Yin cultivar, but Qingxin Oolong. And let's give it a try. Now definitely it has a bit this more metallic taste that sometimes you will associate with Tie Guan Yin, so a more powerful taste, and at the same time it's very sweet with an very sweet, fresh undertone, like for High Mountain Oolongs, and it has this structure from this light roast that it had. So a very a more robust tea compared to High Mountain Oolong, thanks to a higher oxidation level and also a higher roast than usual. And this a bit more metallic note is what makes it a bit similar to Tie Guan Yin. This is really very obvious when you drink this. So these leaves are still considered quite high quality, since they are High Mountain Oolong made from Qingxin cultivar. They are not made in the best season, which are spring or winter, where they make then High Mountain Oolong fresh, but in this fall season they were able to increase the oxidation level, add more sweetness, more fruitiness, and this typical metallic note. For lack of other words, maybe you will find better words, and with additional roast, more balance, refinements, and structure to this tea. So it does not taste like a typical High Mountain Oolong, not even like a typical roasted High Mountain Oolong that we tried before in from Shanlinxi in the Dongding competition. The roast here is lighter actually, but the oxidation level is stronger, and therefore we are again on something different. This is what makes oolong, this partial oxidation and partial roasting of the leaves, so interesting, because if you move the oxidation level and the roasting level, you are playing on like on a chessboard, and there are so many combinations that it's really endless, the different notes that you are able to obtain. And here we obtain something that is very interesting because it mimics a very famous tea, Tie Guan Yin, which we're going to see next week, but at the same time it retains the typical purity and sweetness of High Mountain Oolong. Thank you very much, and then don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and we will see each other again next week to discuss the original Tie Guan Yin from Alishan. Bye bye.